Hello everyone, I am Uday Datrak. I will be teaching 100 plus unique security issues and 100 plus web hacks. First 25 lessons are 4 to 5 hours to understand in-depth basics before we start finding security issues. You must start watching from lesson 0 guys, otherwise you will not understand. You will understand but you will not be creative to find critical issues. Training you end to end to become one among the topmost cybersecurity professional in short span of time is my responsibility even if you don't have any basic skills. Search in YouTube for Uday Datrak, Bug Bounty. I will daily upload 2 videos, but you must start watching from lesson 0 guys. Within just 50 hours of learning, you will be equal to 5 plus years experienced professional candidates, and I guarantee it. Now, let's talk about cross-site request forgery issue guys. We'll spend around one hour on this understanding because most people waste lot of time in understanding the basics of cross-site request forgery. So what is cross-site request forgery? The name itself says that cross-site request forgery. That means, let's say when you have logged in into a website, so what attacker will do is attacker will send you some link, and as soon you click on that link, what happens in the back end, some request will be sent to the website on which you are logged in. You got it? Let's say for an example, if you are logged in into a Facebook account and someone sends you a link to your Gmail account, as soon you click on that link, in the back end some request will be sent to the Facebook in such a way that it could be like changing your Facebook account password, or else deleting your profile, or writing some bad content on the Facebook wall post, or sending some message to someone, anything so based on the features available, the attacker can misuse it. So let's say if you are logged in into a bank account, the attacker will send you a link, and if you click on that link, your money will be sent to someone in the back end. The request will be executed. The main goal for an attacker is to perform some action on behalf of you. Like the main in order for attacker to successfully execute cross-site request forgery, the victim has to be logged in. Yes, that is very important guys. If you cannot log in, then no sensitive request can be happened. Let's say Facebook account, if you are not logged in, if attacker sends a link to you, he can only perform action as a external user without logging into the application. He no need to send a link to you, he can also browse by himself, right? Yes. Let's say we'll understand little about website users and pages. Now let's say there is one web application, localhost, okay, let's see, yeah, it is running. Yes, now it is okay. I need to run the burp suit too. Just give me a second guys, meanwhile. Yeah, meanwhile we'll talk about this. Let's say there is a website called Datrak, something like. As soon you open this application, it is asking you for the username password. That means there is one file called index.php. It will be auto loaded. Now what this page is asking, it is asking for username password on the home page. And if you enter username and password, where there will be stored, your username will be stored in variable called username is equal name equal to username, because it's something like input field, and password will be stored in input type is equal to password. And once you click on the submit button, the where it is application is sending, the application is sending to this particular file. Your username and password will be sent to this particular file and you will be logged in. Now let's say I entered, since it is get request, it is showing the username and password here itself. So we are correct, the username password sending to this particular file, username stored in this variable, password is stored in this variable. Now let's say this application has 100,000 users or 1 million users. For all the users, whenever they open this particular website, right, the first page will be loaded, this one only, right, index.php, and when they enter username and password, the username will be stored in this variable only, and the password will be, username will be stored in this variable and password will be stored in this variable, and they will be sent to this particular page. So is there any way chance that if some other user opens this application, his username password will be sent to some different website or some other variables? No, right? So it is very important to know that we know that now in the world, like whoever opens this particular application, we can know what all the pages are there in this application, what all each page has what all those variables. So we know that. That is very important to know to perform cross-site request forgery. And the second important thing to know is who all has the accounts in this to perform. For example, if you want to do cross-site request forgery for me, you have to know that I have an account in this site, right? Otherwise, if you send a link, I will click on that, I don't have an account in that, so no action will be performed. So that is the important thing. Okay, now yes, why CSRF can happen, that's it, we discussed just now. Every website will be having same common, not every website, every user in a website will be come across like same features most of the times, like 90% of the times, unless they are super admin with extra features. Even if they are admin, they will be having the same features too. Yeah. Now where CSRF can happen, where CSRF cannot happen. Let's say login page. As I said, CSRF means cross-site request forgery. Attacker will send a request to you, send a link to you. For example, let me create one account to showcase it, like ABCD. I created an account. Sorry, the password is okay, ABCDEF. Let me check it is recording. Now we know that in order to frame cross-site request forgery, we are trying on the login page, and then we will understand like why we should not do it on the login page now. Okay, let's frame a request now, how things can happen. We are doing it manually. There are also some automation tools. We added website name to whatever inside the form action. Okay, this is method is post, earlier it was get. Okay, now actually it is the index.php we need to see for. Okay, yeah, index.php. I have two different login pages on the site, guys. It's a typo mistake, that's please ignore. Yeah, okay, now yeah, now that's fine. I added HTTP localhost to this page and username field. You need to enter separate question mark, username is equal to username. Variable name should be exact, even if there is a is case sensitive, guys, sometimes some websites. And what is the other variable? Password. I am sending as a part of URL because it's a GET request. Okay, I'll also show you another example of GET and POST request now. Password equal to ABCDEF, which we just created. Now whenever the attacker clicks on this, let's say when you log in into the site, this is how the request will be sent to the site. Now if attacker sends this link to you, because if attacker sends this link to you, what will happen, guys? What happened? Something wrong. Let's give me a second, guys. Yeah, hi guys, I did not observe, like I will tell you what was the error. So what happens, let's say the attacker sends you your Gmail, this link, and as soon you click on this link, what will happen? Now you will be logged in as attacker. Can you see? This is something like cross-site request forgery. Now this request forgery was successful because you logged in as hello user. Now, but tell me guys, tell me one thing, why will attacker send his credentials to you, right? Can you think why will attacker send his credential? No, he will be in trouble if he sends, because you can misuse those credentials. Like let's say Facebook account, if attacker sends his credentials to you, you will upload some bad images, or you will write some bad content on the wall, so that his accounts gets terminated. Or if he sends any bad message to some police department, if someone's, like if attacker sends credentials to you, and but if you write any bad messages to any high level departments, then the attacker will be in problem, right? So no attacker will send his credentials. That's why cross-site request forgery, most of the times people ignore to do the protection on the login page itself, because even if attacker tries to do it, only his credentials will be stolen. Now cross-site request forgery is successful, guys, because in order to protect this, what should be done? Like there was one more application, we'll check it out. Before to that, we will try to we'll see one website how it is protected against the cross-site request forgery. We have nothing to do with the request method type here, whether even though if it is a get request or post request, the attacker can still execute that successfully. Now in order to protect cross-site request forgery, what should do? Protection, implement unique token, random token, and random token in the HTTP form fields, and check on the server side. I'm just trying to explain you in a basic approach, guys. Proxy, intercept off, and we'll see one website how it is protected against the cross-site request forgery, even on the login page. You don't have to report CSRF most of the times on the login page, guys. I'll try to open another website. Meanwhile, I have to set the proxy here. Okay, yeah. We are opening damn vulnerable web application. We'll just enter some random data now, just to see how it is protected against that. Let's say if we go to HTTP history, can you see, guys, with the username, password, there is a user token is sent. Now let's say now I entered valid username and password. Now let's try to enter some valid username. Username is admin, password is password. But can you see it's a post request, so you cannot directly append within the URL. So how can we make a similar page? So I will show you one shortcut. Copy this URL from here, username to from top to login field, right click, view selection source. We did not copy well, guys. Let me copy from top, little top. Okay, now all the way to below the button. Okay, now here we can see form action is equal to, I'll copy starting from form to form, ending form. Slash form means it's ending. Okay, now since it's a HTML site, I'll try to create an HTML page, which is nothing but renaming a notepad to .html. It is always good to do it manually, guys, so that you will become expert, and like just by looking at the things you can tell whether the application is vulnerable to this CSRF or not. Didn't I copy properly? Yeah. Control C. Now Control V. Now how many input variables are there? Input type is equal to test, input type is equal to password. Okay, now see, it is login.php. Now let's try to open. It will show some error like now we made a similar form on our local host. It will throw error when you click on the login. See, file does not found, because if you see in the form, action is equal to just file name, because this file name is directly loaded from the server. Server will understand that, yeah, this is something like Datrug application, but since you downloaded it on the local machine, you need to give the website name. Which website it was? DVWA. You need to append the till the folder, because this is not the file. You should not, because we are already having the file name which is accepting the username password here, right? Yes, slash. Now all good. Now let's enter some valid username and password, see whether we are successfully logged in or not. Yes, now we loaded the same file again. Username is admin, password is password. Let's say the attacker sent this page to you via email attachment, you downloaded it, and then he can also send you link, but let's go in depth later. First let's understand the basic. You downloaded the HTML and you clicked on that and you are successfully logged in into the site. Yes, it's showing the logout button. So this is how, guys, let's say the application is running over GET request. Now you know how to make the CSRF RF attack pages for GET request and POST request. Three ways. Now first one is, for a GET request you can directly send a link. For POST request you can send this HTML file, or else for GET request you can also send similarly file, like for example method equal to, you have to, for a GET request it will be, if you copy it will be by default GET only, you don't need to change anything. So three ways. Now you understood how to make a CSRF form pages. Now second important thing, instead of it is sending username password, and also it is sending some hidden variables, guys. Let's see, to protect from CSRF only it is doing it. Now I'll try to remove this hidden form field and I will check whether are we bypassing the CSRF protection or not. Now we'll check this. I just removed that part completely, that variable and value. User token value is equal to. Most CSRF tokens will be always in the hidden form fields, guys. Yes. That's it. Our job is to enter username and password. Whatever is there, we have to remove it. That's it. Now admin password. No, even after giving the correct username password we cannot log in because it is protected against CSRF token. So CSRF token will be unique for each user. Each user it will be some random number and it will be sent to you in hidden form fields and it will be matched at the server side. So this is how, guys, the application will be protected against CSRF, but we only checked on the login page. Now, and also the login page, we also understood that it should not be checked on the login page because attacker doesn't like to send his own credentials, right? So it is also a best practice to say that, like, if you want to say help any developers or PHP developers, you can tell them blindly that there is some damn vulnerable web application, DVW application, which has the CSRF token protection on the login page. You can see how they have implemented. That's a shortcut, guys. Now we will try to execute on one of the internal page now, CSRF. Now you should be able to tell me, guys, you should tell yourself when I am trying to do that, like, you should be able to know all the process what I am going to do. Now let's say there is one web application, extremely vulnerable web application, and victim logged in. Let's say victim logged in and attacker also has his own credentials. He knows that every user has a change password feature here, which is not asking for the old password, which is directly asking for the new password. So let's say if it is asking for the old password here, then the attacker cannot execute CSRF because he doesn't know the old password. Now what attacker will do is, on his machine, oh sorry, I did not logged in here on the XVW. Okay, admin. Oh, last time I changed the password, guys. Oh, shit, I don't remember the. Okay, let me use another credentials here. Instructions here. Okay, XVW is the here. Username passwords are shown for this applications just for our understanding purpose. XVW. Now we logged in username. So every user, as soon as they logged in into this particular application, they will be having a change password page feature, which doesn't ask for old password. Now attacker knows that you have account in this, he is your friend, so he will try to make a page with this request and he will send to you. As soon you click on that, your password will be changed. Let's do that now. Now in order to make that, what is the first step? I have to select this page completely, here to here, here to bottom, below to the bottom. Okay, now right click, view selection source. Okay, now I am copying from form to form. In order to this attack to be successful, you should be logged in, right? Otherwise there is no point. See here, action is equal to blank, so we have to give the, since we are making it on the local machine. Which page is this? CSRF, right? Yes. Oh, it's very cold, guys, here. It's almost like 6 degrees. Okay, now as soon you open this page, the attacker, like, I will try to modify this to something, guys. hidden variable, so that attack like I will tell you more about it. Value is equal to bingo, confirm new password, confirm value is equal to bingo. Okay, so what I am trying to do is, input type is equal to password means it will be masked, it will ask for subfields. When I say input type equal to hidden, it will be blank screen. It will be blank screen, but there will be a variable called password, but the value is already we are defining here in the backend, like bingo kind of thing. So now confirm password also set to bingo. Now let me open. I have some other shortcuts to make CSRF, guys, but first you need to see, as soon there is something called submit button. When you click on that, voila, the password has been changed. Can you see, guys? It was like just a blank screen, but when you clicked on that, the password was changed, because we know that that particular website having these two variables, variable password, confirm password. So we just, instead of type is equal to something, whether it's a input or password, we changed it to hidden, so that it will be blank screen. Extreme. Now let's say this page is working, attacker tested it by himself, and he will send you an email. When you, if you are logged in into this particular application, and if you click on submit button, your password will be changed. Just by looking at this particular page, can we say whether it is protected by the CSRF or not before doing all those things? We can see form to form, and it is asking for only for two input fields, guys. That is password, confirm password. If it would have asked for old password, then it would have protected against cross-site request forgery. If it was asked against, what do you say, for unique token, then it would have protected against the cross-site request forgery, guys. So this is how you need to check. Like let's say if there is a bank account money transfer, guys, how do you gonna check it? Let's say there is a from account to account and money transfer account, like amount number. The attacker will modify all these three parameter values. If you are logged in into this particular application, then attacker can steal all your money, guys. So this is how you need to see. In order to protect that, there should be something called unique token. But remember, guys, one more important thing, CAPTCHA doesn't protect against cross-site request forgery, because if you have got a page is still asking for CAPTCHA, the victim unknowingly entered the CAPTCHA. After entering the CAPTCHA, what happens? The request will be executed, right? So in order to protect cross-site request forgery, CAPTCHA should not be used. Only hidden form field variable should be used. Two-factor authentication. Tell, guys, does the two-factor authentication protects against the cross-site request forgery? Think, guys. Most of you will go wrong now. Think for 30 seconds. No, because unique token will be sent to your phone, and by looking at your phone you will enter that number. After entering that number, your bank account money will be sent to others, guys. So even the two-factor authentication via SMS, via email or CAPTCHA never protect against cross-site request forgery. Even though if it is a Java application, .NET application, PHP application, or any framework of particular application like JSP, servlets, Hibernate, Strings, J2 mobile application, whatever it is, there should be some unique token variable which should vary all the time. Sorry, each user it should be different, and for each request this number should be changed. If it is the same number for all the users, then it's wrong. How do you check that? first you need to do it on your system and try to open the same website in another system and see whether the unique number is changing on the two systems or not. This is also important, guys. And the fourth important thing is most of the applications will fail. You try to check it yourself, guys. For this, what you should do is, attacker on the different machine, he will try to replace the CSRF token of victim to his CSRF token and then see that whether that will work or not. How he will do that, guys? Very simple. Like he will try to let's say you logged into your bank application, or let's say there is a particular page called this particular page only. It is asking for password, new password and token. So what attacker will do is, for that token variable, since he doesn't know your CSRF token, what he will do is he will do two ways. First he will try to check it by himself whether what happens if he removes the CSRF token working or not, or else he will do another step is like he will try to pass the variable CSRF token variable, but it's a blank value, guys. Understand? That means equal to will be something here. Where did we create our button here? Here instead of value equal to bingo, it will be blank, like CSRF token value will be nothing here. There will be only two double quotes, that one. So if the website accepts that, he will try to send this without any value, null, that means blank value, two double quotes only. Otherwise he will put his own CSRF token. You need to check all these ways, guys. But at this moment I don't want to bump you. You are like, just wait for 10 days, then I will try to create a POC so that yes. Now just by looking at a glance, how you can say whether all the pages are vulnerable to CSRF or not. I'll try to show that, guys, now. Since you are logged in, there is some internal page called file upload page. How you can check whether this particular page is vulnerable to CSRF or not? It is asking 5 input fields: image, name, description. So from add to, I'll come down and see how many fields it is having any unique token or not. From form to form, all good, guys. It is asking, okay, input type is equal to file, okay, one field, second, third, fourth, fifth. There is no CSRF token here, guys. Only the input fields, names, asking for us to enter the input. So this page is vulnerable to CSRF. You need to report, guys. I'll show you one more shortcut, guys, over the burp suite. Like what you need to do is, you simply need to upload an image, not image, you need to execute the internal page, right? This is an internal page. Submit the request, open the burp suite. Since it's a latest request, we have to come down all the way down. We can see all the request variables and values, guys. Now this is the image data. We are coming down. After image data, what we can see? Name, price, that's it. There is no other CSRF token variables here. This is something, not a token, guys. In order to check by yourself, how you gonna do it? You can simply make a request, like from here to come down, right click, view selection source, copy from form to form, paste it in a HTML file, modify action to this particular URL, because double quotes means that particular page only. Yeah, you need to enter this page and see, guys, If you can upload the file successfully, that means the application is vulnerable to CSRF. This particular page. And is there any other pages? Let's say, can I check for SQL injection for what do you say? This page is search field. Can I execute CSRF on the search page? No, guys. No, you cannot execute because searching is something is nothing. We cannot do it. We have to execute CSRF only on the sends to request, like change password page, file upload page, money transfer page, delete the files or page, sending the message, posting the comments, kind of send something on behalf of you. Nonsense to something CSRF should not be checked for registration page, forgot password page, reset password page, search page. You should not check for CSRF on these pages because there's something like it's a name itself says registration page means why will attacker enter his own details for the registration page? No. Login page? No. Because on the registration page attacker gives a password and he will send you can see his password, so attacker never take that risk. For password reset page, no, nothing so these are the things, guys. So attacker executes sends to request on this. So however, in the next lessons we will see more about CSRF.